everyone, welcome to DIY with Nancy. Today I have my mom here. This is my mom, Lucia. Mom, you want to say hi?
Hi everybody. Tá tudo ok? E cá encontro muito bem, graças a Deus consegui para uma coisa melhor.
Today I'm going to show you how to make pickled onions. Mãe, vai fazer o quê?
Cebolas curtidas, à nossa maneira.
A nossa maneira ou a maneira da minha mãe?
A minha maneira, a moda de Portugal, para onde vem lá.
And she has shown me how to make pickled onions. I actually made a jar last week, but I wanted to also share the recipe with you. And so that's what I'm going to be showing you today, how to make pickled onions, cebolas curtidas, step by step. And later on, I'm going to have my mom taste the cebolas curtidas, the pickled onions that I made last week. So they're ready to eat. Mãe, vais experimentar as cebolas curtidas?
Experimentar para ver como é que ela está.
She's being sarcastic. She says, yeah, we're going to try it and see how they are. Mãe, acha que eu não sei fazer?
Tu é que lhes fazeste.
Okay, well, anyway, stay with me, everyone, and watch how to make cebolas curtidas, pickled onions, step by step. Let me show you the ingredients you'll need to make pickled onions or cebolas curtidas. You'll need onions, red wine. My mother calls it vinho because this red wine is a homemade Portuguese wine. White vinegar, cold water, salt, chili peppers, garlic cloves, and you also need mason jars. I have 1 liter mason jars here that I have sterilized in boiling water for about 10 minutes and dried thoroughly. I'll also list these ingredients in the description box down below. Now let's get started with the first step. I just want to show you how I peel the onion. Now the first thing I did is I used gloves because I could tell you that my hands will be smelling with onions all day. So I'm going to start off by placing my gloves on. And then what I do, and I sort of follow the same steps that my mom showed me. She'd always use a paring knife. So I'm going to use a paring knife. You don't have to. It's just easier for me anyway. And what I start off by doing is cutting the stem of the onion. So just like this, cut the stem of the onion, okay? And then the root. Now the root, you don't want to cut the root completely. So you don't want to cut it like that. You just want to cut the top of the onion so that way cut the top of the root so that way the onion can stay intact and be held together. So what I'm going to do is just going to cut the root just like that, and then I'm going to start peeling the onion. I mean, it's not hard, but I do want to show you the step because this is how the onion stays together, and I don't want to cut the root. There you are. The root of the onion holds the onion together. So if you cut that, then the onion can fall apart. And I want to avoid that. And I'm not going to be using this onion because I've washed all of the onions, or not washed, I've rinsed. Correction. I've rinsed the onions, just the exterior of the onion, and then dried them because I don't want any moisture in the onion while I'm placing them in the jar. So, just a little step. Just wanted you to see that. So I'm going to set this aside here. Now, I have to say that the jarring of the onions and getting the ingredients for getting the onions pickled doesn't take long. More of the prep time. So more of the peeling of the onions, the garlic, and cutting out the stems of the chili peppers. Now, I do want to point out that you do not have to use chili peppers and you do not have to use garlic cloves. It's optional if you want to place it in. My mom always made cebolas curtidas with both, and that's what I'm going to continue doing, and that's how I'm going to show you how to make them. So I'm just letting you know they are optional. So I'm going to set this aside. Now I'm using a 1 liter jar. You can use a 2 liter jar. This 1 liter jar is a little smaller. If you use a 2 liter, it's a little larger and it's wider opening. So we're eventually going to be putting the onions in the jars. But before we do that, the very first thing you need to do is take the onions, and I'm going to do this for every single one, is I'm going to take the onion and just do a little cut along the top. Now, my mom would do this because she said that when you're placing the onions in the jar, the pickling of the vinegar, the wine, is getting into the onion, and it's a lot easier. So it has a little opening, just like that, just like a little opening. I'm going to continue doing that for all of the onions, and then I'll show you the next step. Now I'm ready to place them all in the individual jars to make Cebola Cortida pickled onions. Let me show you that step. Now, if some of the onions are too big and it doesn't fit on the top, you'll see what I mean. When you're filling the jar with the onions, sometimes it doesn't fit. Cut the onion in half. I don't know, split it on the side. There's no rule about how you place your onions in the jar for pickling. All right, so I'm going to start off by filling the jar with the onions. One more. There we are. So we have all the onions filled here. Now for the next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place 1 garlic clove and 1 chili pepper in the jar. So I'm going to insert it in. And a chili pepper. Okay. And next I'm going to place 1 teaspoon of salt. And the teaspoon, this is the teaspoon my mother used, and this is the one I'm going to use. So it's just more or less a teaspoon of salt in the jar, just like this. There we are. And next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a funnel, just like that, to pour the liquid. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the white vinegar 3/4 of the way, and then I'm going to fill the rest of it with water right up until there. And then I'm going to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of red wine, and that's it. So I'm going to show you. So I'm going to place, this is the vinegar. I don't want to confuse the vinegar and the water. This is the vinegar. So I'm going to place, it's going to spill, that's why I have the cutting board here. So there we are. So I filled it right, so almost 3 parts vinegar, 1 part water, and then you're gonna add the vinegar or red wine in the end. So the water is cold water. So I'm gonna fill it almost to the rim. Okay. And now I'm going to add, I have a tablespoon here. It doesn't have to be exact, but a couple tablespoons, and this is what's going to give it color. My mom always used white vinegar and the red wine, vinegar, 3 tablespoons. So 2 to 3 tablespoons of wine. Now once you have your liquid in there, you're going to place the lid on the jar, nice and tight. And you're going to do one of these. You're going to flip it a couple times so we can get the salt in there. And there we are. Now the onions will be ready in about 2 to 3 days. I normally leave it for 5. I like them very flavored with the vinegar and the wine, and I want to give it a chance for the garlic and the pepper to kick in as well. And so that's pretty much it. Like I mentioned, about 3 parts vinegar, 1 part water, and you're going to put it right up to there. And then you're going to place about 3 tablespoons of red wine. Now I'm going to continue placing the onions in the jars and the liquid, pepper and garlic, and then I'll show you the next step. Now, I wanted you to see that. So if there's a lot of space in between the jar and you want to place a larger onion, they're all small, but some are larger than others. What you're going to do is take the, where you cut it along the center and just cut it in half and just place it in the bottom. Squeeze it in. And then I'm going to take another one and do the same thing. I like them whole, but sometimes the jars that you have is not wide enough. So you just place them just like that. And there you have it, everyone. That's how my mom taught me how to make Cebola Cortida pickled onions. Now, as you can see, I have 4 jars here, 5 in total. This one I made last week. And then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna make a video for all the viewers here to know how to make, well, the way my mom taught me how to make pickled onions, Cebolas Cortidas. Now, we're gonna try this one because this one has been here. It was 7 days ago, maybe last week, about a week ago. I made these. They're ready to eat within like 4 or 5 days. It's been 7 days. I'm gonna have my mom try it. So 5 jars altogether, 5 1-liter jars. I used about a bag of 10 kilos of onions, the small onions, the not mini onions, but small onions, enough to fit in the jar. Queres só uma coisa das cebolas curtidas? Como é que tu aprendeste a fazer as cebolas curtidas?
Aprendi já lá em Portugal com o meu pai, desde eu sei que sabia fazer. A gente fazia isso, que a gente usava muito isso para comer com peixe, bacalhau. Cada qual come na tudo, é com tudo. Yeah. Pode-se comer.
Eu gosto, minha mãe vai só pão de milho.
Com pão de milho, com peixe, isso é desde bom.
I like eating this with fish, the pickled onions, but I like to eat it with cornbread. Like I'll have a pickled onion in itself with cornbread. Love it. I don't know, it's just, isso nós comemos assim, eu não sei.
É como estava tudo, mas os meus filhos todos comiam, eles agora comem mesmo porque gostam.
Yeah, minha irmã, I have a brother and a sister, they all love pickled onions. I'm gonna share it, I'm gonna give them 1 each. And then Manja vai ficar com 3 e vai dar uma a Lucy e uma a Kevin.
Ok.
What do you think?
Isso é tudo teu, não é meu. Aquilo que é teu, tu fazes o que tu queres.
Isso é nosso, isso é nosso.
Pronto, depois faz.
Okay, I'm gonna open this jar. I don't know if I have any muscle, but like I said, I used 10 kilos of, it was 1 bag, which is 10 kilos of onions, and I got 5 jars out of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open this. Mas eu não temos pão de milho, but you know what, it's okay, a gente vai desmontar isso anyway. Oh, ainda tem músculos. My muscles.
Beijo todos. Minhas mãos não querem.
She can't. Ok, mas a gente vai tirar aqui uma cebola.
Yeah.
Algumas eu cortei metade porque não dava para pôr dentro do garrafa. There we go, look at the color of it. Once you see the color of the onion, you see that?
É cor boa.
Queres pimenta?
Não.
Sabes que essas pimentas piquem?
Pica muito. Eu gosto, mas não é agora.
Ok, mas como a maneira que tu queres comer?
Deixa eu ver.
She's gonna try it. I don't do that. I don't cut it. I just eat it with my hands.
Faz mal.
I want to try it too.
Oh. Very good.
This is how I eat it.
Tá bom.
Oh my gosh. You got some acidity from the vinegar. You got a little spice from the pepper. Like I mentioned, the spice is optional. Mom, this is good.
Yeah, elas estão boas.
You want some?
Não, não. Pois isto
Mas logo o Dominic não vai me querer dar beijo. I just said that my hubby's not going to want to give me a kiss later. Well, I'm definitely going to have some onion breath, but it's okay. Anyway.
Tap a bit apart.
Yes. My mom just said, make sure that you seal it really tight. Once you open it, put it in the fridge. Okay? So if they're not, if they're not open, you can place them in o quarto frio or cantina or pantry if you want. But once you do open it, seal it tightly and place it in the refrigerator. These won't last long.
Quando se usar a primeira vez, a gente usa e tapa bem tapado e bota no frigorífico.
She just said what I said. Place it in the refrigerator once you open it. Anyway, everyone, my agradecimento para minha mãe mostrar-me como é que se faz a receita de cebolas cortidas. I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you all enjoyed watching how to make the step-by-step of pickled onions, cebolas cortidas. And if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care.
Bye.